Good day everyone, Christ Psycho here, and today we will be going over the best weapons you can use as of this season. We will be separating the weapons into different categories, and as a quick disclaimer, this list is in no particular order, so the order in which the weapons are mentioned has nothing to do with their performance. I know this should be obvious, but you'd be surprised by the amount of angry people if we didn't make this clear. Starting with the snipers, actually the only sniper on this list, the Tundra, even after the nerf this season, is the undisputed king, trumping over the rest of the snipers in basically every aspect. It has great one-time consistency up to infinity, the fastest ADS time relative to its damage, an extremely low flinch. The only drawback of this would be the scoping animation, which some people may not like due to it being a bit different from the other snipers, but that is something you can easily get used to after a few games, and once you do, you pretty much have the closest thing that you could to snipers back in 2021 when they were at their prime. Next, we have the anchor weapons, or the main ARs, that are categorized by their slower than average mobility, high max size, and ability to hold down angles, completely cutting off enemy reinforcements. The Kilo 141 is one of these weapons, a weapon that has been in the meta since its introduction. Not much needs to be said about it that has already been known. Featuring a very easy recoil pattern, phenomenal BSA, and unlike other main ARs, it has enough mobility and fire rate to be able to hold its own in closer ranges. The iron sights are a bit awkward for some, and most prefer using the Mythic to negate the obscene sight shake seen in the base gun. The other two anchor weapons are LMGs, that being the UL 736 and the newly buffed PKM. Most of you are already familiar with the UL, phenomenal range, decent mobility for an LMG, good recoil, and the potential to 3-tap within the initial range for a TTK of 194 milliseconds. But the PKM, on the other hand, is very much a new addition. Compared to the UL, it handles a little slower, but in return, it has less recoil and a much better overall lethality, having a more consistent 3-shot kill for a TTK of 190 milliseconds and an unlimited 4-shot kill. It also has an ammo pool so large that you basically swim in it, allowing you to hold down entire sections of the map while being near impossible to challenge. The most powerful of the anchor weapons are the DMRs, semi-automatic weapons that feature phenomenal lethality across all ranges. These are the hardest to use but have the most potential to carry games in the hands of a capable player. The most well-known example is the SKS. Meta since it's been added. It has the ability to 2-tap for a TTK of 165 milliseconds and a one-shot headshot no matter the distance, making it the most lethal weapon in the game. However, it has quite a bit of flinch, so you will need to build for that. This paired with the already slow mobility means that you are pretty much a human turret. If you don't like that, then you can use the AS Val with the 15-round FMJ. Some of you might still be questioning the fact that it's even here, but just to give some context, it was banned in comp before it even got to see use. Not even the SKS was banned this fast. The reason for this is because it's basically a more mobile version of the SKS. Remember when the Holger was considered busted because I had AR level strafe on an LMG? Now imagine that, but it's SMG mobility, and instead of an LMG it's a DMR, that is the Val FMJ. And a meta where close-range gunfights are common, you can argue that the Val is the better option over the SKS. With the ability to reliably 2-tap for a TTK of 186 milliseconds up to 44 meters, and through walls, as well as damage output is not that far behind compared to the SKS. The next category belongs to the flex weapons, arguably the most popular due to having the most flexibility, being able to hold their own up close and at range. This allows them to handle most situations and accommodate for the most playstyles. No meta list is complete without the HVK-30. A lot of you already know about this gun at this point, with its ability to 3-tap for a TTK of 181 milliseconds, great overall range, low recoil, good BSA, and decent handling. Almost everything just screams the perfect AR. Everything except the mag size of 28 rounds due to the large caliber ammo, which means that you can't play as recklessly as other options unless you want to be caught without ammo. A very similar weapon would be the DRH, which has been steadily rising in popularity since its appearance in Champs, even as far as getting banned. Compared to the HVK, its fire rate is much slower, but where it lacks in fire rate, it more than makes up for in damage, being able to consistently 3-tap all the way up to around 30 meters when built for range. The slower fire rate also contributes to better ammo management than the HVK-30, however its BSA and mobility aren't quite as good compared to the HVK-30. After half a year of being in the meta, the Grau has officially been dethroned by the newly buffed Type 19. You can think of this as the better Grau in every category. Better TTK, better hitboxes, better handling, better recoil, better BSA, you get the idea. The only advantage that the Grau has is the iron sights, and even that isn't enough to justify using it. While it is not as lethal as the HVK and DRH, or as accurate as the Kilo 1-for-1, the fact that it can have a bit of everything while being one of the easiest guns to use makes it no doubt a top tier flex AR. The last flex weapon on this list is the Odin, a weapon that was considered the worst for the longest time, which has become one of the more popular weapons ever since its appearance in CN. Talk about a glow up. You can think of this as the full auto SKS, being able to potentially 2-tap for a ridiculous TTK of 145 milliseconds and never needing more than 3 bullets to kill at range, making it very consistent in terms of damage. But as the law of equivalent exchange states, in order to gain something, you must lose something of equal value. And in this case, it's fire rate and mobility. Its fire rate is the slowest out of full auto weapons at 414 rounds per minute, which makes missing shots extremely punishing. Miss one shot and it's double tap to respawn for you. It also has quite a bit of recoil, forcing you to build it to be slower. The last category of weapons are the aggressive weapons, which are also really popular. These can be recognized by their excellent close range lethality and mobility for breaking into objectives. The best SMG for this role is the Fennec, featuring an amazing fire rate of 1,111 rounds per minute and the potential to kill in 162 milliseconds thanks to the chest multipliers. This combined with its great mobility and hipfire accuracy makes it really hard to beat up close. And despite being a CQC weapon, its recoil is surprisingly easy to control, allowing you to beam at unexpected ranges. The only real downside is the small mag size relative to its fire rate, meaning you will quickly fly through your mags. Another option you can use is the R90, a shotgun that has seen use in comp in the smaller maps due to its ability to consistently one burst to up to 20 meters for a TTK of 200 milliseconds, allowing it to be more versatile than the other shotguns like the KRM while being more consistent. Just make sure to always ADS since it doesn't have great hipfire spread, being only better than the Argus. Before we end this video, we have a few honorable mentions that are still very good options but didn't quite make it to the list. First, we have the MG42, the new LMG that features an extremely fast fire rate and decent handling. We will be making a separate video discussing the weapon in detail along with the build, so stay tuned for that. The next honorable mention is the Grau, everyone's favorite weapon. Statistically speaking, it is quite average. It doesn't do anything particularly well, but it doesn't do anything particularly bad either while being very easy to use due to the low recoil and clean iron sights. So it's still a very safe option for novice players or less comfortable with some of the weapons on the list. And lastly, we have the QXR, which received a lot of buffs last season, having some of the best TTK profiles out of all SMGs, even outgunning some ARs at range while having moderately controllable recoil. We initially expected this gun to be a top tier option in the meta, but there were a few options holding it back. The main one being that it doesn't have enough mobility to challenge other aggressive SMGs, while also not having enough BSA to be used reliably as a flex, which leaves it at somewhat awkward middle ground. It is borderline meta, but is just had to be kept in check. Nevertheless, it is still a great option for those who like to use their SMGs outside of close quarters. And that covers all our recommended loadouts for this season. Feel free to let us know in the comments if you have other loadouts you recommend, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Crypsycho going dark.